Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Kingston man killed in suspected reprisal for schoolboy's murder. 40-year-old Marlon Barn Wisdom was shot dead by unknown assailants in the vicinity of Luke Lane and North Street in downtown Kingston yesterday afternoon. Investigators from the Kingston Central Police Division suspect the shooting was a direct reprisal for the recent killing of 18-year-old schoolboy footballer Omar Leng. Wisdom, who was from Luke Lane address, was reportedly shot at least 10 times. The police believe the killings are linked to an ongoing feud involving gangsters from Hannahtown and Middle and Upper Luke Lanes over the illegal usage of a car park across from Kingston Public Hospital. Several roadways in the vicinity of the shooting have been cornered off and traffic was diverted. Leng, who was a student at the St. Andrew Technical High School, was shot and killed on his birthday last month. Bar owner survives vicious machete attack in Hanover. 26-year-old Rashawn Lewis of Copes District, Hanover, has been charged with wounding with intent arising from an incident in Copes District on Friday, May 6. Reports from the Rambo police are that about 6 a.m., Lewis was at a bar and he and the owner of the bar got into a dispute. During the dispute, Lewis reportedly left and returned with a machete, which he used to chop the bar owner several times. The police were summoned, and the injured man was taken to hospital where he was admitted for treatment. On Friday, May 13, Lewis was arrested and charged. His court date is being finalized. PEP students promise exam glory to honor late teacher. 6th graders at a corporate-era school have pledged to honor their late teacher with exam success in the Primary Exit Program PEP. Carlos Gordon, who taught at One Way Prep in St. Andrew, died in hospital last Wednesday after a sudden heart attack. He was 37. Gordon, who was one of 3 teachers nationally who died suddenly in 72 hours, had struggled with an undisclosed illness. His peers said he had been hospitalized for weeks. Dr. Glenroy Fagan, Senior Director of Corporate Services at One Way, described his former colleague as a kind-hearted person who had an impact on many lives, even those who were not directly under his supervision. Students who sat the first round of PEP exams while Gordon was in the hospital were unduly affected because they had expectations that their teacher would return to the classroom. So for the exam, they would have done their best. Some of them said that we need to make him proud. However, upon hearing that he died, they still continue to say we need to make him proud, Fagan said. Adra Fowler, principal of the prep department, said that the late teacher was proactive and had a special talent for engaging students. Gordon, who was from St. Thomas, was very close to his siblings, administrators said. Since I came and met Mr. Gordon, we have had a good rapport. He is like that, jovial, very friendly. Once you ask him to do something, he will do it. He takes criticism well, he is very dedicated, and he wants what's best for the children. Gordon was employed to One Way since 2006 and specialized in teaching of mathematics and science. One of Gordon's colleagues, Magdalene, said Gordon always made time for everyone. Anyone who is in trouble or wanted to go somewhere, he made himself available. He's just the type of person who never say no, Magdalene stated. She remembers the exceptional assistance offered by Gordon when her husband was in the hospital. That help came in the form of transportation or just being there, she said. Magdalene cherishes memory of Gordon, tying the shoelace for the special graduation boot she could not execute herself. She also remembers how full of life he was as a teacher's day trip in Negril a year ago, exercising on the beach and taking pictures. Nicola Pinnock, vice principal, recalled the late teacher as adventurous and personable. He had other things working on and promised that I would get them Monday when he come back to school. That was it. He has been in the hospital since, and that was it for us, Pinnock said at their last communication. Students and teachers had gone grief counseling sessions with past students and parents chipping in to ease the trauma. Other parents from kinder to prep would have been familiar with Mr. Gordon, Fagan stated. Manchester man pleads guilty to manslaughter in shooting death of woman over case. A former Manchester delivery supervisor who shot and killed a 24-year-old woman he said disrespected him after allowing another man to kiss her, has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Andre Bromfield entered the plea when he appeared before the Manchester Circuit Court yesterday. He was initially charged with murder following the incident at the Mastermark supermarket in the parish 2 years ago. Sentencing is set for Tuesday, May 31st. It is reported that on December 31, 2019, Chanel White, who was employed at the supermarket as an inventory clerk, along with Bromfield and others who were in the lunchroom when she was greeted by another male colleague who kissed her on the cheek. Following a statement reportedly made by White that the kiss should have been on her lips, Bromfield, in a bout of rage, reportedly got up from his chair, pulled his licensed firearm from his waist and shot the woman. He then ran from the room. White sustained a cranial cerebral injury from multiple gunshot wounds to the face, according to medical records provided to the court. Bromfield, who surrendered to the police on January 1, 2020, and was subsequently charged with 1 count of illegal possession of firearm and 1 count of murder, pleaded not guilty to both counts. The court later reduced the murder charge to manslaughter after Bromfield indicated in his caution statement that he was provoked by White. "Me take up this girl and give her everything. Build her a 2-bedroom house. Pay off all her credit card and me realize say she have another man. Me see this youth a kiss her up and me talk to her and she had diss me up. Me just snap." With a reduced charge, Bromfield's attorney, Norman Godfrey, sought to find out the sentencing indicator. However, presiding judge Lorna Shelley Williams said she would be following the sentencing guidelines for the offense. JDF Sergeant slapped with murder charge. Jamaica Defense Force JDF Sergeant Tifalos Tracy has been charged with murder and illegal possession of firearm following the discovery of a dead woman in his vehicle on February 26. The charges were confirmed by his attorney at law Peter Champagny earlier yesterday in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. Tracy is to appear before the gun court on Thursday, May 19. He was previously charged with failure to hand over his firearm to police officers during the investigation into the circumstances surrounding the discovery of the dead woman in his car, in which he was offered a $300,000 bail. Tracy is to return to court on July 28 for mention of this charge. Tracy's bail conditions include the surrender of his travel documents, reporting to the nearest police station on Tuesdays and Thursdays between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. He is to reside at the Clarendon address listed on file, and a stop order was made. In relation to his earlier charge of failure to hand over his firearm to police officers, Tracy was made the subject of an identification parade. However, Champagny confirmed that even though arrangements were made to have Tracy participate in this parade on May 5th, 6th, 9th, and 13th, this was not done. The St. Andrew Central Police had reported that about 4:20 a.m. on Saturday, February 26, lawmen responded to an assignment of a motor vehicle collision. On arrival of the team, a grey Honda Fit motor car was seen with a woman's body protruding from the front passenger seat. The body was reported to have multiple gunshot wounds. Police said the deceased, who is still unidentified, appeared to be in her late 30s, is about 5 feet long, and has a skin tone that shows evidence of bleaching. It was clad in a black blouse, purple sweatpants, and 1 foot of black and red Nike sneakers. Investigations that followed revealed that the motor car belonged to the JDF sergeant, who is also a licensed firearm holder. He was located and taken into custody. Road repairs on horizon, NWA advises as Hamilton Mountain demonstrates. National Works Agency CEO E.G. Hunter has disclosed that the project to rehabilitate the Aracabessa to Freehill Road is being tendered as frustration boiled over into Western St. Mary. Angry taxi operators and residents of Hamilton Mountain, just outside Aracabessa in the parish, blocked the Eden Park Bridge from as early as 4 a.m. Monday morning to protest poor road conditions. The protest left scores of persons stranded, some having to resort to a much longer alternative route via Freehill. But while not disclosing the estimate cost of the planned roadworks, as he noted the tender process was not yet complete, Hunter said that it should be awarded by the first week of June. A female Hamilton Mountain resident, who gave her name only as Bluesy, said that the residents felt neglected by their political representatives Orcabessa Division Councillor Sheldon Kidd, and St. Mary Western Member of Parliament Robert Montague. When the councillor want vote, him come find we, and him no gonna come this morning, come address we, Mr. Sheldon Kidd and Mr. Bobby Montague. I heard that he was here Saturday, but now is the time that I want him, she said. We no waste people, we need road, she stated. Bluesy said that Montague had sent word saying that he would meet with them as soon as the roadblock was cleared, but described the message as a big disrespect. In a message sent to reporters, Montague apologized to the persons who were inconvenienced by the protests, adding that he was always available to deal with the concerns of the citizens. The road bad, may not deny that. The road is actually out of tender, he said, noting that he did not believe the protest was politically motivated. May is the first to admit the road bad. That's not the issue. Just like how other roads in the constituency are bad, that road is bad. From Hamilton Mountain up to Kauma, about 3 miles, it bad man. Me drive panino, it bad. And it alone bad. While noting that the residents had a right to protest, he appealed to them to not inconvenience others. They have a legitimate cause, and I will never deny that, and I am the first to admit that. But people going to hospital and children going to school also have legitimate business that they want to go about. So protests may not stop you from protest, but do not inconvenience others. It's not a political issue, the road bad. Protesters rip into Lawrence Wright. Under fire lawmaker Daniel Lawrence and George Wright have appealed for patience from enraged constituents who mounted barricades that left commuters stranded in Westmoreland Central and Eastern. Scores of angry residents block at least 10 miles of roadway linking Frame, Kingston, Grotto, Highgate, Caledonia, and Darlistant with boulders, tree trunks, furniture, motor vehicles, and water tanks. With commuters stranded, the protesters armed themselves with placards, chanting for urgent repairs to ramshackle roads. A resident who gave her name as Janet told reporters that the road conditions had become so grave that pregnant women have given birth in motor vehicles while being transported to hospital. We can't take it no longer. Enough house burn down because the fire truck can't reach we quickly enough. And when the goat thief them come thief we goat them, we can't drive fast enough to catch them because the road too bad, the disgruntled woman said on Monday. As the police sought to clear barricades late into the evening, residents vowed to return to press home their disgust. Daniel Lawrence, who represents Western Eastern, said the early beginnings of the protests were genuine, but he suggested that sinister motives have been political rivals were geared towards undermining his work in the constituency. It started out as taximen blocking the road, but it was also orchestrated otherwise, and I understand the situation with the road because the road really needs urgent repairs, but this road has been in this state from 1995, said Lawrence, hinting at the blame for PNP lawmaker who represented the constituency for decades before his 2020 electoral upset. Lawrence said that works are at the procurement stage and that representatives are waiting on that process to run its course. Referring to the need for transparency and scrutiny from the Integrity Commission, Lawrence said that everything has to be dotted and all the T's crossed. However, he promised that patching would be done in the interim. Westmoreland Central MP George Wright, an independent, said that an estimate was done by the National Works Agency, but urged restraint, saying the contract was yet to go to tender. Abigail Malcolm, People's National Party Council for Cornwall Mountain Division, and Jerome Burgess, colleague council for Darliston, both voiced concern over the deplorable road conditions. Malcolm said, having learnt of the roadblocks, she spent much of Monday assisting children to school and assuring protesters that better would come. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.